Welcome everybody to the final session of Citrix Converge 2020, our live wrap session. So anyway, what we're actually here for is to throw open the floor to you, the attendees. This will work just like those virtual coffee breaks. If you raise your hand in the GoToWebinar UI, we can turn your mic on, unmute you, and you can chat with us. Otherwise, if you're a little bit more shy or you have the cleaners in the house, as I do, you can type your questions into the Q&A panel. So just go ahead, and I guess I better introduce us as people kind of formulate their thoughts. Sonny, you've had a pivotal role in making all this happen. What do you introduce yourself?
If you joined us for all the other coffee chats with Pat here, I'm Sonny Chen, the Developer Evangelist Manager here at Citrix Systems. I've been here for almost a decade, so wow. Taking that into consideration, I've been working the past 3 months very, very hard with the great team here on Converge. Excited to see all the stuff that is going to come out of it with the submissions, and like to thank all you guys for your help in making this possible.
All right, Matthew, what do you do here?
Sure. So my name is Matthew Geary. I'm a manager on our product design research team. So we're the ones responsible for doing things like usability testing, working with the product designers, working with engineers and product managers to really make our end user voice heard in our products, but particularly around Converge. My focus has really been on trying to understand what we can do to support you. So you've probably seen more than enough of me post channels asking for you to fill out surveys, for you to fill out different feedback forms, and ultimately it's us trying to understand what the developer community needs from us and how best we can support it. So thanks to everybody who's participated in all those different feedback mechanisms.
I'm Rakesh. I'm the Vice President of Product Management for the developer ecosystem. And I'm very excited for all the participants who are here, attending, presenting, and contributing to the hackathon. Of particular interest in today's session is that as we move forward, one of the things we've been hearing about is of a greater opportunity to work with Citrix. And we'd like to hear about more ideas in addition to what you have already communicated on how we could enable you to, partner further and to succeed more with Citrix. Thanks.
All right, and I literally do have the cleaners right outside my door, so I switched to the headphones. So they just stopped the vacuum cleaner now, so apologies if it starts up again. So yeah, so I guess less of a question, but more feedback from Bob Dankert, one of our valued speakers. I thought you all did a great job. Thanks to everyone at Citrix for organizing this. Well, you are most welcome, Bob. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you and the other speakers, and we absolutely could not have done it without all of you. Sonny, why don't you take a turn?
All right. What criteria for innovative ideas evaluation during process of NPD, new product development?
Matthew, do you have an insight into evaluating ideas during new product development, or Rakesh?
I think for everything we do at Citrix, it's kind of an alignment of where the business is going and meet our customer needs. So we spend a lot of time trying to get ahead of talking with our customers and end users and even potential end users to try to evaluate things months before we get to the point that they end up in product. So the criteria, it changes. It depends on the business circumstances and things that are happening, and just kind of continually incorporating feedback coming in from customers. We as Citrix are constantly evolving our approaches and our strategies based on what experiencing out in the world. So, it depends, but certainly aligning with what we're hearing from our customers, our partners, and our end users.
And I think I'll extend that a little bit. So my title, I have the word evangelist in my title, and there's a constant tension in the developer relations community between evangelist and advocate as two different titles, and really they're two sides of the same street. So evangelism is taking what our engineering and product teams create and bringing it to the community, and then advocacy is the other side of the street, bringing the feedback in and those requirements and wishes from the community back into the product team. And I think you'll see a lot more of that going forward, the developer community in particular being able to influence both generating new ideas and prioritizing existing ideas, telling us what's important to you. Okay, so shall I grab the next question from Bob Dankert again? A lot changed from the 2019 Converge compared to 2020. Has there been any planning into what the 2021 Converge may look like, regardless of it is virtual or in person? Geez, give us a break, Bob. We just finished.
No, we're not even done with this one. Man.
Hey, Rakesh, you're the boss here. Tell us what's going to happen next year.
Nothing to do with being the boss, but I think in terms of the themes, as you mentioned, changes from 2019 to 2020, we have broadened the scope of what we mean by developer in terms of, including scripters and builders and people who generally want to, move in that direction. So we'll continue kind of expanding the scope of the technologies that we partner with. Similarly, in terms of the scope of the technologies that we are covering, as you saw this time, we are covering across the Citrix portfolio, and that is one motion, that we'll continue. We'll definitely, look at spending more time on the business side, on the partnership, side of things. So I think those are definitely, some of the things that we are looking at. But also we'll look at we'll continue having the big events, but we'll also look at having more ongoing events. We'll also look at having geo-specific and market-specific events. So basically looking at scaling more, both horizontally and vertically in 21.
Yeah, and I think, it'll be largely, I think the overall shape is exactly as Rakesh just explained, but the details will be largely guided by this, how 2021 plays out. I mean, I'd love to get back on the road and get some in-person events, meet some people. I've worked for Citrix for coming up to 5 months now, and I haven't physically laid eyes on another employee or set foot in an office. I don't even have a badge. I'd love to get on the road and, do some in-person events and, as Rakesh says, cover some of the geographies. I know we've got a big community in India. I'd love to come out to Bangalore, Gurgaon, some of the other hubs out there and meet folks in person, because there's just so much. You can get a lot done in these events, but qualitatively it's so different being face to face and just a deeper level of communication. But we'll definitely be ramping up on the virtual side. So events such as webinars. We already have a webinar planned for December. You probably saw in the daily email already. So Sunny and I will be doing a roundup of Converge in December, and then we'll look at the new year.
So we actually have a comment from who I'm just going to call the Queen of Converge, even though she hasn't appeared on video with us. And she's been the main lady behind the scenes here with Tara. She actually says in the chat, at least the first half will still be virtual in 2021. We will look to do some regional Pacific hackathons and events. And of course, another worldwide Converge October 2021. So there you have something to look forward to.
Yeah, you
And
heard
as well,
it
in the
first.
chat, there is the link to register for the webinar where Pat and I will do our top 10 of Converge.
And I think in addition to us reaching out to you, one thing we'd also like to look at on an ongoing basis is to continuing to hear from you in terms of your input and what more, we could do. And, we'll post on the Slack channel and in other ways to keep soliciting input as we move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and echo that. We're hearing a lot of that already coming in from the event surveys and things like that. And there's been a big demand for kind of more hands-on training for people to get practice in an environment where they can be getting feedback with others, as well as some opportunities to kind of connect that they're doing as developers to the business needs of customers and clients. So things where, it's not just about, hey, what's the technical capabilities? How can you help me explain this value to my customers, to the organizations that I work for? So really some good feedback, and I think that'll help guide the general direction, as we go forward in 2021.
So how about we ask the audience questions?
Sure. Thanks, Sunny. One of the comments we've heard, so as you saw in the format this time, we had the recorded sessions with, live Q&As and live coffee and chats. And that the recording enables us to be available at your convenience, independent of time zones, independent of when, you can choose when you're free. But we have received some feedback that, even keeping the sessions live is very important. So wanted to get some sense from you, kind of the interactivity of the live session, but the trade-off that then it's more restrictive in terms of time zones. So if you could just post on the board or raise your hand.
Shall I create a poll? We can use the technology here.
Sure.
How do I do this? Actually, Matthew, why don't you? You are like so much more competent at this than I am. I have no idea. I just clicked on the thing and it sent me to the webpage. How about Matthew? You create a poll, and we can have people do the thing there, and then it's
while that is actually being created, there's a question from Bob in relation to the interactivity. Are there plans to keep the Slack channels active throughout the year after Converge? I've enjoyed interacting with Citrix and other developers throughout the year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's been the same Slack channel since it was created, I guess, a year ago. Yeah. So there are no plans to turn it off. Everybody that is there is welcome to stay there. We might even, I don't know, we've got to figure out going forward whether we make it, easy to join outside of the events, make it a general channel, a general community channel, but certainly it'll stay there and ask questions. One thing, from my past experience, it's important to recognize that Slack there's no SLA, it's a community channel, it's kind of more of a water cooler place to hang out. Maybe ask a question and somebody can answer if they've got time, point you to the right docs, but it's not a support channel, right? So it's really important to make that distinction. It's not a place to come and say, hey, I've got a problem in production, this is going wrong, I need help right now. We have paid support with SLAs and that's always the way it's going to be. It's more a kind of, I'm experimenting with this, what's the best way to do that? It's a different kind of forum from support and even from the discussion forums. So let's look. We've got John Buckard. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but love the option to interact via Slack, even with the time zone differences. Yeah, and this is pretty much an insoluble problem. We actually wrangled with this for some time in the planning phase of just how to do this, and we just kind of settled on what is it now, 6 till 10:30 a.m. Pacific, which gives us evening in India, I guess afternoon in Europe, morning in the East Coast, and early rise in Pacific time. And unfortunately, Australia and Japan, it doesn't really work. But we struggle with this, and I'm glad that it was still a positive experience for you, John.
All right, so not a question, but some feedback. Hello, Pat and everyone. I am from India, and all the sessions and coffee break sessions and everything is dope. This is my first hackathon, and I submitted my project entry on micro app development themes. All the sessions are so fascinating and enlightened me a lot. Happy to hear that, Theron.
Darren Ravuri. Does that deserve
a water bottle? I think so.
I think so. I think, positive, constructive feedback like that is totally water bottle worthy. All right, so Brian Sprogo, and I'm sure I'm not getting your last name right. That the O with the line through it is awesome. It has been a pleasure to be a speaker this year. Very good to open up for other than Citrix employees. And this was really important. This was a key feature of this Converge there were two ways in which we expanded it. One was obviously the expansion from micro apps to all of the other technologies, and then the expansion from you just kind of hearing from us to you talking to each other and you talking to us. And I think that's so important to have sessions presented by people with maybe more objective viewpoints, more independent viewpoints than the product manager, the engineer that worked on the product, people that have used the technology in the field and dealt with the rough edges. Thank you, Brian, for speaking and for sharing your expertise and experience. And just to remind folks, sorry, Sonny. Just to remind folks, you can put your hand up and talk to us directly if you are super brave, or you can continue typing in questions in the Q&A, and we'll keep reading them out and talking over each other.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to ask a question to the audience. What did you guys find was really helpful, or what did you enjoy about the conference? Something that we could bring into the next conference, and then, maybe we can decide to improve upon it as well. Wanted to get a lot of feedback here. This is our third go around with the virtual hackathon, and so we find that it's really good to see all the innovative ideas that everyone's coming up with. But we want to keep improving. So, is there anything that anyone found? Are there anything that anyone really enjoyed or wanted to let us to continue keep doing, or enhancing in some way, shape, or form? Feel free to raise your hand, put it in the chat. You can put it in the question box. Either way, we'd love to hear from you and love to know. Praveen says the mentorships were wonderful. They really helped us.
That's great to hear.
Here.
And also on the converse side, if there's anything that you didn't enjoy, feel free to let us know as well, so we can try to rectify that for the next event.
Okay. And Brian says, Brian says, hackathon is a great way to get new ideas and let winners present at the next event. I hope that inspires others. Yeah, absolutely. And, I can say right now, it's an automatic ticket to be a speaker next time if you win the hackathon. If you win any category, in fact, we'd love to have you back and explain your app and, the innovation that went into it. And, another one for you, Sonny.
Hackathon gave me an adrenaline rush, and I really enjoyed building products. But I think it would be better if we have precise problem statements for hackathons instead of giving broader opportunities in the hackathon.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's cool.
Yeah. That was kind of an experiment. Leave it really open, but at the same time, sometimes more constraints inspire more creativity in working within them. And okay, so we've had a couple of minutes for the bouquets. What are the brickbats? What are the things that could be done better? Was there anything that kind of really didn't work for you? I guess given the time of day right now, we've filtered out Japan and Australia, but we had to do a geo-specific event there in the future.
Yeah, or were there things that you were expecting to see that didn't come up, or what parts of the event you thought, hey, I should have learned that, or I wish they would have talked about this?
Yeah, what did we miss? You're
not going to hurt our feelings.
Pat just said he's spent Citrix career on this event, and you're saying we're not going to hurt his feelings?
Bob's actually, Bob's planning for the next event already, and we're like, we're not even done with this one. So
I was saying that as you move forward and kind of start building more stuff on Citrix, I think we'd like to have kind of a broader, council or kind of a feedback, a more somewhat formal feedback team. So if you're interested as you build and you have more, real world experiences to be on that feedback team, please do reach out to one of us, drop us a note and say that, you'd like to join that. That'll be great.
Okay,
and I think as Clara pointed out, in terms of live events, that once we start having perhaps geo-specific virtual events, that'll give us a greater opportunity to, have live events.
And I can say without doubt that we will have an event in the Netherlands. We just have an amazing community there. So watch out for that one. And it's not too far from Denmark for Brian and his colleagues there, Nikolai. Okay, so let's have another. Let's read out another bit of feedback. So Brian says, I didn't have specific time set aside for the event. That will change next time. I'll treat it as an ordinary conference. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. That there is. With everything being on demand, there is the ability to kind of fit it around the work that you're doing, but you still have to set aside time for the interactive elements. So that's great feedback.
We've also received some feedback that 5 days might be better than 10. So if anyone wants to add to the chat, give us any input on that. I think that'll be pretty important. We went with 10 this time to give more room, to attend sessions and for the hackathon. And there were some holidays at different parts of the world. But if 5 days is crisper and better, we'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. The trade-off there was with 10 days we could run all of the Q&A sessions consecutively. So nobody, you could catch everything if you wanted to. There was none of that. I've got to miss this one because I'm going to that one. But realistically, it'd be interesting to know from you, the audience, how much crossover there is between those different tracks. If you're into the app delivery and security track, the networking, how much interest do you have in the virtualization or the micro apps? So that'd be good to know, because maybe next time 5 days with 3 parallel tracks might work better. Okay, wow, we've got a whole load of feedback. We better start catching up here. So I'll go first. So Praveen Manjanath says, maybe integration of video and Slack into one platform would be really nice. It's easy to track agendas, but really loved all sessions. Yeah, and what we did after a few days was realize we could start posting those YouTube links into Slack, so you could just start playing it right there. The other thing we thought about was doing like YouTube Premiere, where you could interact on the YouTube side. So, but that's good feedback, Praveen. Definitely having an integrated platform is helpful.
Okay, John, sorry if I butchered this last name. I'm gonna say Bused. Expanding on the power of Slack to chat and messaging directly on Slack after watching the videos on YouTube allowed me to be flexible and interact with presenters before I logged on to the event. E.g., I'm USA Pacific, but still messaged and received responses to presenters that would have been on early AM. So,
okay. So having that little bit of asynchronicity available there, you can ask a question on Slack and get an answer, when you get up the next day. Okay, so Tharan, I missed a few sessions because of my time zone. Can I watch sessions on demand? Absolutely you can. And I'm about to post the link to the Citrix Developer YouTube channel into the chat. So let me do that. I'll copy it here. Actually, oh, what? Oh, geez, I started the thing playing. Oh, sorry about that.
All right, so while Pat's doing that, back to the question of length. Aryan Dev says 1 week. Bob Dankert says a shorter conference, i.e. 5 days, would be easier to set aside concrete time on the schedule if this is in person. I can't imagine that this would be a 10-day conference, much less than even a 5-day conference. Yeah, that's a bit much too. Following that up is Brian Sprago with 5 days will fit better. I'm going to set specific time aside, missing out on work as a consultant and missing income. We don't want you doing that, so we'll be sure to plan correctly on that one. Okay, here's a question now. Hardal Singh, does external stakeholders participate in any way in the invitation process stages?
Yeah, it looks like he added on that. I can take that a little bit. Certainly when it comes to product, we definitely have, whether it's our research and design teams, whether it's our product, we're always trying stakeholder feedback, whether that's external and whether it's with our customers, and it's absolutely a part of our feedback process, part of our kind of user-centered design process throughout development. So if it's specifically you want to get, feel free to reach out to me. We can get you connected to the rep to and hear what your feedback and ideas are. We'd love to establish that relationship.
So with that, can you believe that we're actually at the top of the hour, and we can officially call Citrix Converge 2020 a wrap? Thank you so much for everybody that joined us in this final session. Really great to have that feedback, and thank you to everybody that spoke, everybody that participated, and to my colleagues on the Citrix team. It's been a fabulous ramp up into my Citrix career.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you at the next one,
everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.